Welcome to the Muddy Waters of Freedom with your hosts, Matt Wright and Mohammed Shaker.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Mohammed, single and ready to mingle, Shaker, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom. What's up, single and ready to mingle?
I'm good.
You good? Good.
I'm glad you came up with a nickname.
Yeah, I came up with that on my drive today.
You were thinking about me on your drive.
I was thinking about you on your drive.
Oh, okay.
First of all, I would like to thank,
whoever you want.
and this is going to be a switch.
Okay.
I would like to thank Shell's Kava Bar in Lauderhill, Florida.
Okay.
They are the people who gave me my kava today.
Yeah. They didn't give me anything. Neither did Low Tide.
No, I kind of forgot to grab that because we were in a hurry.
That's
Sorry, we everything is running very late today, so
yeah.
Everything kind of got.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, it's definitely a good evening, but
yeah,
for
it should
those
be
of
pretty
you who
fun
are
doing
listening,
a late show.
Yeah, I like the 10 o'clock at night thing that we got going on. All right, everything's silenced.
It's all right.
Yeah, so we have not done a show in a week.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
I had some stuff to deal with on the weekend, so it had to be canceled.
It's all right. It happens.
Yep.
It happens. So I saw that you were watching a lot of sci-fi this week. Unless your Facebook's a liar.
No, I
you
mean
said
I
something
have
about
been.
not trusting blondes, and
You can't trust blondes when it
No.
comes to science fiction, especially blonde robots, androids, sort of thing.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that just makes sense.
Yeah. I was watching a show called Dark Matter. I think it's been out for a year and a half now. And right now they're airing the third season. It's pretty cool. You know, it's your regular show of a bunch of misfits on a spaceship. But I like it. It's actually pretty good.
Nice.
There's not a lot of good sci-fi out there. I know I've said that before, but it's good watching it.
Very cool.
Yeah. I suggest it if you like sci-fi.
Yeah. I mean, I still have to watch that other sci-fi show you keep telling me to watch.
Yeah, The Expanse.
The Expanse.
Remember the Cant.
Yes. Whatever that means. I don't know.
Canterbury. It's the ship that got blown up, man.
All right.
You got to watch the show.
Oh, what I would like to say to all of our listeners and /viewers.
Yeah.
We got stickers.
We have stickers now.
We have stickers in with our logo on them. Nice little round stickers. I have one on the back of my car. If you want to know what it looks like, you can go to my to the Muddied Waters of Freedom Instagram, or I believe it's on our Facebook page. I'm not 100% sure. I think
I'm not sure, yeah.
I think I shared it correctly.
Yeah.
But if you would like one, please get in touch with us, and we can figure out some way to get that to you. And speaking of Instagram, you can follow us at Muddied Waters of Freedom, or you can follow us at facebook.com/Muddied Waters of Freedom, or on Twitter at @muddied_waters.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of all this social media stuff, let's go with the news we teased about.
Yes, that is a good idea. We should do that.
Yeah.
So last week, we teased that we had some 2 weeks ago online, we teased that we had some huge news, and then last week on the show, we teased it again. Would you?
Sure.
You can do the honors.
Yeah, so we were approached by a friend of ours that lead singer for the band Backwards. This is their Veracity album. Eric July. He's the lead media guy at a page called Being Libertarian. I've been following that page. There's two of them. This one specifically. I've been following it for probably a few years now, but from last year, in the beginning, I would say until today, they've went from 100,000 likes to now they're at 530,000 likes.
Are they 530 now?
Yeah.
Last I looked, they were at 480 or something.
No, yeah, they're over 500 now. And I mean, last year, they had originally approached me to do a single man podcast, and at the time I wasn't really into it. We're doing my own show. I wasn't feeling it, so I kind of blew them off. So they came back around and they asked us if we would be okay with syndicating our show with their page. Now what that means is we get to do the same show exactly like we've been doing it. No one's going to tell us what to say. No one's going to say anything to us. The biggest difference here is that our show is now going to be our show's going to be now going live on their platform. So they're going to be soon launching some sort of website called Being Liber TV to kind of be like a hub for the podcasts and shows that they have already syndicated. I'll have the ability to go on if I want to on my own. So will Matt and us as a show. So the only biggest difference is now we're going to be going live on a page that has, plenty more likes than, we have 700 something likes on our page. Theirs has,
which isn't bad for only 6 months.
No, it's not. It's not. But
of very part-time labor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But this is going to be a lot bigger. So should be very good for us, hopefully, and everybody else. The other thing that we've been working on, and we won't have any details on that until we're done with it, is we're going to start a Patreon for anybody that likes the show and wants to contribute to us in any way. We haven't talked about if we're going to be doing it by month or by what kind of creation we put out, or not what kind, the amount of creations we put out. So it'll probably be a monthly thing, and it would be pretty cheap, and that's to help us out. We don't have really. In all honesty,
I have zero idea how I know what it is, but I don't know how it works.
Yeah, there's another one kind of like that called Subbable.
Yeah, I've got about 15 emails from them that I didn't read because I was busy doing other things.
Yeah.
Over the last few days.
No worries. But it's a platform for creators. YouTubers use it, and I don't know what other type of people, but it's supposed to be pretty big. So a lot of YouTubers use it. So, excuse me. For example,
that's why you shouldn't dip for anybody who doesn't know.
I'm not even dipping.
Oh.
Not yet.
It gives you acid reflux. That's why you shouldn't do it.
Oh, my stomach's full of Kava and kratom. But
let's not blame that.
Yeah, let's not blame. Yeah. So, for example, if you use YouTube often, if you watch a lot of shows, there's a really big channel on there named after the main guy, Philip DeFranco. He's one of my favorite people, and because of all this stuff that's going on YouTube with the advertisements and all that, he's got a Patreon that's got a couple thousand people on it. It's pretty crazy, and because of that, he's able to survive without the ad blockade that's been happening on Facebook. So we're hoping that a Patreon for our, best supporters that really enjoy the show can help us out. We have the whatchamacallit, we have the SoundCloud account, we have this equipment, hopefully more equipment in the future that would make the show better.
Stickers.
Stickers. And hopefully
sadly,
more.
we spent more on the stickers than I think we've spent on any other single item.
Yeah, I did not know these could be so expensive.
Yeah.
But it's a way for y'all to support us, and a part of the whole deal with Patreon is it's also a way for us to give back to you guys. And that's the thing we haven't worked out yet, is what kind of rewards there would be for people supporting us. Your own community where you guys can talk to us, recommending shows, coming on the show, shout outs, so on and so forth. We haven't finalized anything yet. We're going to be talking about it because I don't want to bullshit it. And I want to make sure if we're doing this whole Patreon thing that it does end up being a quality investment for you guys rather than it just being another way for us to make money, even though we don't really make money on this so far.
We don't make any money doing this.
Yeah.
We do this just out of the fun of it right
yeah,
now.
Exactly. Yeah. But we'd want to do more. And more equipment, more whatever we can get would be helpful. And you'll hear more about that once it's ready. So yeah, look forward to Being Libertarian finishing their thing out, and we don't know when, a few weeks maybe, and we'll be moving onto their platform. Maybe what we'll end up doing is, since we'll have access to the page, we'll be able to grab the video from Being Libertarian, since we put it on YouTube, our shows, and then we can put it up on our page, not as a live video, obviously, at that point, but nothing wrong with that. Go to Being Libertarian. You'll know which page I'm talking about. It's pretty fucking big, and they're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. I've been following that page for years, and I have enjoyed it since I think they were at like 120,000. So they're pretty awesome. I like them. And I think that's it for this sort of housekeeping stuff. Other than, I don't know, you just visited them, obviously. Yes, I went down and I visited Jared and Heather, who just opened Shell's Kava bar, and they were very kind enough to give me this shirt and the kava I'm going to be drinking today. So
nice.
Thank you. Oh, you know what? I didn't do a bula for them.
Okay.
So
I'll join.
I know you don't have any kava, but
no, that's all right. You know how it is.
I do. So bula.
Bula. All right. And with that, obviously, comes, we'll just get right into it. With that comes our first talking point that you suggested, something I haven't heard about until you told me about it, and it's crazy.
Yeah, no, this is, okay, so the reason that we're doing the show so late today is because I was driving back from Shell's Kava Bar, but before that I was in Boca Raton. And the owner of Low Tide and myself went to Boca Raton because the owner of a kava bar down there was working on opening a second kava bar.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. From the article you sent me.
Right. Yeah. The article by Carl Dickey, which we will be including in the comments section down here, or however you do that. I'm not really sure. I'm in my 30s and I don't understand technology how I should. But we will be including the article in here so you guys can see that I am not just making all of this up. Also, I would like to put a warning on here that if your name is Sally Wright, stop listening. Just don't listen to
Sister.
this. Mom.
Oh, Mom.
Just don't listen to this episode.
Does she listen still to the show?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I'm just throwing the warning out there.
Now, your father does still, right?
On occasion, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't
Anyways,
care. I don't care
Sal,
if he hears me say these things.
Ma'am, don't listen.
Right, ma'am. Mom, please don't listen.
Yeah.
Okay. So, one of the kava bar owners down there is working tirelessly to open another kava bar in a small city in Florida known as Lighthouse Point.
Sounds like a Skyrim location.
Sure. So, they got some flack from Lighthouse Point, and they were not giving them the building permit.
Yep.
They were applying for the building permit, and the city, I guess, wasn't giving it to them, and then was digging a little deeper and found out that they were a kava bar that was going to be opening up. And
because you need permission from the state to buy a land, put some walls up, and then throw a bar in.
Right. Well, okay, so this has already been built. Everything is done.
Disregard.
Yeah. The bathroom just, if I remember correctly, the bathroom just didn't meet code. So they wouldn't give him the permit to fix that, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. He told me about that part a while ago, and he was like, oh, it's not a problem. I'm going to get it fixed. And then it has blown up into this entire thing. So they wouldn't give him the permit. And so they went to the Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay. And
the Planning and Zoning Board denied them the building permit.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that they were going to be serving kava.
Yep. This whole time I thought it was kratom, by the way, because of the whole.
Right. No,
you're about to get to it.
Right. No, this is the part that really blows my mind because, I went and I spoke in front of the Florida legislature about kratom. I've spoken in front of spoken in front of a lot of different places about kratom.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they were like, hey, can you come down and talk? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I thought it was going to be about kratom, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was about Kava.
Yeah. Now, if you guys don't know, Kava is FDA approved. Kratom isn't. So, continue.
So,
and kratom's usually been the one that's the issue. I'm sure everybody knows that by now.
Right. So, I go down and they're like, oh, yeah, no, it's about Kava. And I was like, what? And so they send me the minutes from the Planning and Zoning Board. And I will read part of them to you right now.
Yeah.
In January 2015, the City Commission passed Ordinance 2014-0919, which modified City Code Section 54-13 to prohibit the sale of designer drugs with the intent to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the city's residents and the general public.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand it. Like right? You don't want spice or bath salts or whatever getting out into your community. Get it, 100%. The definition of a designer drug shall mean any non-controlled substance, be it a synthetic or natural compound, mixture or derivative of any synthetic or natural substance, which, if inhaled, ingested, or introduced into the human body in any manner via any system of delivery, physically imitates the effects of any controlled substance, or by express or implied representations is purported to act like or imitate a controlled substance as a stimulant, depressant, or hallucinogenic, blah, blah, blah. Like, the rest of it doesn't fucking matter. For anybody who listens to us on a regular basis, they see us go through typically 10 to 20 ounces of Kava in an hour-long show.
Yeah.
They follow this up by saying that Kava imitates Xanax or Valium. Now,
I wish.
Right? Now, I don't know how many of you actually know this about myself, but and I'm certain I've talked about it before. But
you have. I
okay.
think I know where you're going.
Right. I've struggled with addiction throughout my entire life, and I've taken Xanax and Valium. And this drink is nothing like Xanax or fucking Valium.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was Frank Underwooding it. So that's just an incorrect statement as it stands anyway.
Yeah.
That's just completely wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if the people of Lighthouse Point City Council were intelligent, or willing to actually listen to both sides of the argument, instead of just seeing this and going, no, I don't want that here, I don't care what you say, which is what they ended up doing. They would have taken the word of the doctor, that the very prestigious doctor that they had come and testify at the first hearing, who was saying, oh no, Kava's not bad for you. This guy's got like a PhD from some school I don't remember, and like I saw his CV and it was like 7 pages long, and he was on international boards for botanicals and health boards and all this kind of stuff. But no, their goddamn Google search said, oh, well, it might hurt the liver. And they're like, oh, well, no, that's not good.
No.
No, that's absolutely not what we want. And so we go into the meeting, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't really know exactly what was going on going into it. I didn't know how
hostile they were?
Yeah, how hostile they were.
Okay.
Within 10 minutes of that meeting starting, I knew how hostile they were, and I knew this was not going to end well.
Yeah.
The lawyer that was hired by my friend that's down there got into a screaming match with a man by the name of Jason Joffe. That's Joffe. This guy is a fucking little prick. He is an asshole. He doesn't deserve to share the oxygen with free-thinking people. He is an awful human being.
Yeah.
He was sitting there screaming at this lawyer. And he was saying, you don't respect our law. And in my head, I'm going, no, it's a stupid fucking law. Of course I don't respect it. And then he's like, imagine if you did respect it. Imagine if you gave it some sort of credence. Wouldn't you say that what we're doing is okay? And the lawyers were like, no, absolutely. One, we're not asking for a permit to sell it. Yeah. One, you don't need it, but whatever. But we're not asking for a permit to sell. We're asking for a permit to build. It's not even a permit to sell the stuff. This is a permit.
Well, because there's no because I've talked about this before, which I'll talk after you're done. There's no kratom licensing sort of thing. So
right.
When they apply for these things, they're applying for what? What kind of licenses? Like a general business or some shit?
Well, okay, so they were just applying for a building permit so they could fix the bathroom. Jeez. That was it. They just wanted to fix the building. They just wanted to fix the building so that it would be up to code, so that way they could begin to get their business license. And then they were like, no. And the excuse that Jason Joffe, who liked to mention that he went to the South Pacific on his honeymoon and he tried Kava there, which technically, by his own logic, makes him a fucking drug user, the fucking hypocrite.
Yep.
He was going off, and he's like, well, do you intend to sell Kava there? Well, yeah. You didn't tell us that at the beginning. Well, you don't have Kava bar listed in something that we can check off. It's not an alcohol bar. It's like a tea shop slash.
And a big caveat there, we're not saying that you need to start listing him in your local cities. We don't need any more laws and regulations.
No, not even a little bit. Yeah. Especially for something that, promotes family and community and like happiness and peace. It was absolutely insane. He was like, just imagine that you would accept it. And they were like, well, if you had a restaurant coming in, would you ask to see their entire menu? And he said, no. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, what's the difference there? I mean, why is that not a thing? And he continued on, and he was going off, and he started comparing it to crack cocaine. He's like, well, if they started selling if I knew that somebody was going to open up and start selling crack cocaine, I wouldn't give them the building license either.
Oh,
and
my
it's just like,
God.
This isn't crack cocaine. Crack cocaine is federally illegal, and I'm certain it's illegal in Florida. I mean, I haven't never looked it up, but I'm pretty certain it's illegal here. Yeah. But Kava is not. And to say that any designer drug could be considered anything that's synthetic or natural actually includes
that's pretty much
goddamn
everything.
Thing in the world.
Yeah.
That includes coffee. That includes chocolate. That includes mouthwash. That includes what else can I get?
Tea.
Tea, sure.
Yeah.
Tea. That includes everything. That includes bleach. Everything in the world meets their designer drug label that they have given.
Yeah.
It is absolutely insane what this law states and what they are doing with this law in order to punish a small business owner who's just trying to expand. He's trying to expand his business and give one of his employees the chance to manage her own Kava bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. It's absolutely nuts. This little prick kept talking about being in the South Pacific. And then at the end when he was like, oh, well, I'm a lawyer. And it's just like, no shit. I mean, you're a fucking moron. But of course you're got to be a lawyer to argue the stupid point that you're making.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to bet that asshole, I am cursing a lot today. Man,
that's fine.
Joffe pissed me the fuck off. I am willing to bet that asshole goes out and has drinks every single night.
Yep.
Every goddamn night he goes out and
has
maybe a beer, maybe a beer or two, maybe he doesn't drink a lot, but I bet he drinks every night. But that's fine, even though that's a compound
Yeah, of
of
course.
synthetic or natural, a synthetic or natural compound. So this dude is screaming at the lawyer. And then, so the lawyer's like, okay, so whatever. And they kind of start talking about kratom. Like, they get past a lot of the stuff, and the lawyers are remaining relatively calm, and I was really impressed by that, because if I had been in their situation, I would not have.
Yeah.
I would have probably talked to him the way that I'm talking now.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing I'm not a lawyer, because I don't want to be anything like Jaffe.
No.
So they start talking a little bit about kratom, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's what our main concern is. And so, of course, it gets brought up that the DEA tried to do an emergency scheduling on kratom last year.
And then backed out.
And for the first time in history, they backed out of it. Then it was also brought up
that's first time in history backing out of anything that's about to be scheduled.
Yeah, exactly. And then the lawyer said, I have a letter here that was signed by 50 House of Representatives, 50 members of the House of Representatives, stating that they don't think that this is a wise move.
Yep. Yeah, Justin Amash was on that.
Yes. And I don't remember the woman's name for the life of me right now, because part of me blacked out last night from just sheer anger. She was like, well, it's only 50 of them.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, what? Like, you have 50 members of the elected representation of the entire nation going, no, this is stupid. Like, why would you do this? And the other 380, whatever, I can't do math right now.
No, it's all good.
380, whatever, going, yeah, we don't really give a crap. We're not going to fight for you to push this through. We're not going to fight for you not to. So, whatever. But yeah, it's just, oh, there's only 50 of them. And so then they call up the public comment section.
Yeah, and most of Congress voted for the war in Iraq. There,
Right.
I mean, there you go.
Right. So then they call up the public comment section, and you get these people who, like you, like me, hang out at Kava bars.
I mean, we're not that much alike, but continue.
Well, yeah, you and I aren't anything alike, but we hang out at Kava bars.
True.
So, I mean, we have that.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else, we have that in common.
Yes.
So we got these people that are going up and speaking passionately. Because these are not public speakers, these are not politicians, these are not anything. These are people who just genuinely care about the Kava community and care about Kava and care about this business and want to see it grow and they want to see it thrive. And we had people saying, you have a heroin epidemic in this town, because Lighthouse Point has a heroin epidemic where people are dying. And this could help. Like, I mean, I can't say that when I'm working.
I understand.
But, yeah. But,
I mean, if you look it up, you'll easily find what you're about to say. So.
Right, exactly. And, they were like, yeah, that's, you could see it on all their faces. They were just like, yeah, that's accurate. And they were, it's like, this is just about community. It's about family, and you're trying to deny that. You're trying to deny these people this. And, then my good friend Carl Dickey was there. He's a member of the Libertarian Party. And he went up and he spoke. And he was like, this is about small business, and you're trying to hold back small business, which accurate.
Yes.
Yeah. And then other people were getting up and talking about how Kava and the Kava community has helped them. I got up, I spoke. And I told them that I thought their law was fucking stupid. I didn't say it like that, so I hope nobody worries. But yeah, I told them that their law was fucking stupid in my brain, and that it makes absolutely no sense. And then I reminded them that only, 500 years ago, which is a long time to us, but over the entire course of history, it's not. That only 500 years ago, they were trying to ban coffee bars all across Europe.
Yeah.
Because coffee bars were where evil people went and hung out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if you do what you are trying to do, you were going to be on the same side of history as the people trying to ban coffee bars 500 years ago.
No, man. A better example is at the turn of the 20th century, you had alcohol prohibition in this country.
Right.
You know,
I mean,
by that logic, nobody should have been fighting that because that's a thing. It's an amendment. But
right. And it's an amendment that got taken away.
Yeah.
And I mean, little baby rat-faced Jaffe sitting there looking like he actually gives a shit about what any of us are saying, just doing that like politician, I'm listening to you and I care.
I think most politicians just try to busy work and try to do something just so it looks like they're actually doing something for the sake of them saying, look at all what I did.
I am certain that while he was sitting there listening to these people pour their hearts out to them, he was sitting there pretending like he cared, like he got the doe eyes, like the pursed lips, like he's really listening intensely, and he was probably thinking, God, I need a beer.
Yeah.
Either that or, I mean, and I don't know this for certain, so I'm going to state that out first, but I personally think that dude's a cokehead, but that's just me. He looked like the type.
Yeah.
And I know the type because I used to hang out with a lot of them.
No, I understand.
But yeah, he looked like the type that was a huge cokehead. So, I mean, you know, it's like those self-hating gays.
Yep.
You know, like the gays that just, they hate all gays because they don't want to admit that they're gay.
Yeah.
I think that he hates anything that isn't a legal drug because he is a legal drug user.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion on him. I don't know if that's true or not. He's just, I mean, he's a douche. But he, like, after everybody was done, he made the motion to hold up what the zoning board said. The guy that wasn't there, that was on speakerphone, he seconded it. And then everybody voted aye. Every single person voted aye, and they lost 5-0. And it was a fucking travesty. And Lighthouse Point is a place that, while it's a cute little town, I would never move there because their politicians are
I understand.
goddamn douchebags, and none of them should be in office. And I hope to God that the people of Lighthouse Point wake up, see that, and they're like, oh, these people don't actually care about the community. They're just, for whatever the reason is that they decided to make that, because I don't think it's because of their really stupid designer drugs or either synthetic or natural compounds. I think that something else is going on there. I can't prove it, obviously. But I think something else is going on there, and I hope whatever that is comes out, and that way the people of Lighthouse Point can say, hey, Jason Jaffe, fuck you, get out of office, and in fact, just leave town. Go back to Fort Lauderdale or wherever you're from.
Yeah.
And so if you are bored today, whenever you're listening to it, if you're bored whenever you're listening to it, Lighthouse Point, Jason Jaffe, Joffe, call him and tell him he's a douche. And that's Lighthouse Point, Florida, for anybody that doesn't know that we're in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was kind of what happened. So yeah, on the way back, I have been stewing in this for the 4 hours of driving back, and I have been not happy at all, as you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so basically, this designer drug statute is a very vaguely worded statute that could hurt current businesses as well as future businesses, which ends up meaning that the government gets to choose the winners and the losers.
Right.
Obviously, they're specifically applying it to Kava and Kratom right now in their city, but we've seen the same issues happen with a lot of these rules, different kind of rules that you see really anywhere. Speaking from my own experience doing the field representative work with the Leadership Institute, one of the biggest issues on college campuses today obviously is free speech. Free speech codes, speech codes and whatchamacallit, well, specifically speech codes, because free speech zones are just zones where you can go and say what you want. But speech codes are also on all campuses are very vaguely worded, especially when you read some of these laws and you start thinking how, students cannot say things that are offensive to students, so on and so forth. And it's like, well, what's offensive to me is not what could be offensive to him, so on and so forth. And what we've seen on college campuses is speech codes get abused by the university administrators to unfairly shut down libertarian and conservative student groups, yet it almost never gets applied to leftist student groups, except for Bernie Sanders' group last year. Happened a bunch of times on a few different campuses. So yeah, the government gets to pick the winners and the losers, and for now, Lighthouse Point is going to be without a Kava bar, without people joining in on that community. And it's going to be losing, it's never now going to gain those jobs that they could have gained if they had allowed that business to open up.
Right.
It's pretty messed up.
It's insanely messed up, and it's such short-sighted. I don't like saying short-sighted thinking, but I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not looking at the possibilities. You're not allowing businesses to cultivate. You're not allowing the people of Lighthouse Point to make that decision on their own.
Yeah.
The people of Lighthouse Point could say, "No, we don't want this here." Not go to the business, and the business fails. You're not even giving that the option. Instead, you're going, "No." Because of this law that we passed back in 2015 stating we can ban whatever the crap we want, you're not going to be able to open.
Yeah.
And that is just absolutely insane. It's, in my opinion, it's a travesty. It is god-awful what they have done. And I hope to God that each one of those people on that board get impeached, get voted out, get whatever, just gone.
Yeah.
Just get gone, because that is not something that we want from our elected representatives in this country.
Not at all.
I almost wish I was a member of Lighthouse Point so I could go in there and go, now I'm campaigning against each and every one of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I could, but I also don't want to move to a city that's going to do that to a business. So,
Yeah.
I mean, fuck you, Jaffe.
There you go.
Okay, so if anybody knows Sally Wright, tell her she can start listening again.
All right, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Wink, wink.
Oh, my God. I read that on the notes, and I didn't get the joke until you said that.
Yep.
That's funny.
Yep, I had to start it off like that.
I like that.
This special election was considered a referendum on Trump, and it was the election for the 6th district between Karen Handel and John Osoff.
I like calling him Jack.
Or Jack. I still don't get it.
Jack Osoff.
Okay, I get it.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people, especially on the left, have been claiming that because of the toxicity, I guess, what they see as toxicity of Trump's presidency, a lot of these special elections and 2018 for Congress is going to be a big referendum on Trump, and that they would now start winning because of that. Now, I'm not a fan of Karen Handel. Looking at her records, she's probably going to be voting like every other, I don't know, conservative light person.
Is she a conservative light or is she a rhino?
Same thing. Rhino.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, most of the party, in my opinion, is full of rhinos. There's not many good conservatives in that party. But anyways, yeah. So they had the election, and it's a red district, and Karen beat out Jack by 5 points, which is not good for the Republicans. Excuse me.
Well,
Oh,
okay.
man.
Like, I've heard this a lot. The fact that she won by single digits isn't good for the Republicans. But the Democrats spent
Yeah.
21 million more dollars in that district than the Republicans?
Well, I have numbers here.
Okay.
But it's not good for Republicans losing that bad, but it is good still because that's now 4 out of 0 of these special elections now going for the Republicans. And it's also very good for Trump because it means, as my good friend Theo Bishop said on Facebook, the media and Americans in general may think that Trump is unlikable, but it seems like that they may dislike the Democratic Party more still.
Right.
So let's see. Jack spent $32 million.
I like that you're calling him Jack.
And it's the most expensive campaign now in congressional history.
Which is weird. I could have sworn that the special election here in Pinellas County was the most expensive one in history.
Nope, not here. From outside groups, Karen Handel had 19 million. Jack had 7.5 million. But out of Handel's 19 million, you had 7 million coming from the GOP itself. Okay, the total raised by both campaigns, you had Jack raising 23.6 million and Karen raising, it was 5.4. Where is it at? 5.4 million basically, and they made it a pretty big deal. This election was supposed to be like huge. And they still lost. Basically, Karen got outspent 4-1 by a guy that doesn't live in the district.
The Trump killer.
Yeah, and then you had it's funny. Then you had John Osoff come out and talk about campaign finance reform.
Did he really?
Oh no, he did. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Campaign finance reform. He talked about campaign finance reform. The guy that made the bulk of his money from out of state.
I should not have been allowed to raise as much money as I did to lose.
Yeah.
That is insane. I can't believe you would do that is awesome.
Yeah. And then you had Senator Chris Murphy come out and blaming, not on Russia, but blaming the talks on Russia to the loss. Not sure where he was going for there, but yeah.
That makes about as much sense as 93 million people die every day in gun violence.
Well, maybe, I don't know where he was going there. Maybe he thinks that all the Russia talk is nonsense and maybe we need less talks on this Russia hacking everything stuff. But it's a crazy election, and now the Republicans are 4-0. I think there might be a special election in Tennessee coming up. Because somebody is now the chief of staff, I think, for the governor. I can't remember exactly what it was. I read it in passing. My buddy was talking about it. But we'll see where that goes. That's another one. Although I believe Tennessee is usually very red all across.
Yeah, except for like Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Nashville and maybe like parts of Memphis.
Yeah,
it's going to be red with blue and blue.
Yeah. So, if that ends up being the case, we'll see what happens with Tennessee. But maybe it seems like Trump is not as, I don't know, scary enough to bring out enough blue votes to vote against him.
Right. He's not as scary as the Democrats seem to be to a lot of the voters out there right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right. Which I believe I read that on Tho's page as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they probably the CNN anchors probably looked like we did, the Kava community that was at the Lighthouse Point meeting, when they did a 5-0 vote.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they looked downtrodden, they looked defeated, they looked beaten, they looked just awful. They looked like life had just kicked them in the testicles.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when you spend that much money,
right, yeah, exactly,
legitimately, you know.
Right. But, I mean, on the bright side, it does show that money doesn't buy elections.
No, not at all.
Right. So, I mean, it's got that going for it. But, you know, other than that, it just shows that the Democrats need to revamp their party. They need to figure something out.
Yeah.
And, I mean, a year ago, we were talking about how, well, you and I weren't, I mean, we were talking about it, but just not in this forum. We were talking about how the Republicans were going to have to change things because it looked like they were on life support. They were gone.
Yeah.
They got this awful, narcissistic, megalomaniac winning their nomination, and it's just like, man, the Republican Party is done. Like, they're done.
Yeah.
They're not going to win another presidency ever, and then somehow he wins, and then the Republicans just continue to win over and over and over again. And, like, so the Democrats really need to figure something out, because if they can't beat Trump and his, like, they need to figure something out, and they need to figure something.
And banning all travel there, which is stupid. No one's been able to point me any example where embargoes like that have worked to make things better for the people there. The other one was the United States shot down a Syrian Su-22 and 2 Iranian drones that were in Syrian airspace. Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, I already talked about this a few episodes ago.
Yeah, A Country at War was the title of that episode where we talked about that one. We have a president who campaigned on fighting ISIS, and he's shooting down the planes of the people fighting ISIS.
Yeah.
And nobody really, they're all like, oh, well, no, we need to do that because reasons. Because chemical weapons, blah, blah, blah. But if he just lined them up in a line and just went pop, 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 no, it's fine. Keep that going. Keep that guy going.
Yeah.
But since chemical weapons were involved, even if Assad dropped them or not, since chemical weapons were involved, we have to get involved now, and we have to go after Assad, who is fighting ISIS, and instead of us fighting ISIS, which makes no sense for a president that said that he had a plan to get rid of ISIS in 45 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, everything going on over in Syria makes zero sense right now. I do have to ask you a question. I am I am reading your notes, and 7% of Americans believe chocolate milk comes from brown cows.
Yep.
Is that real?
Yes, yeah, even though it's a low number.
Okay. 25% don't know Earth orbits the sun. I can believe that one. 66% can't name 3 government branches. I believe that.
80% believe in mandatory labeling of food that has DNA in it.
Gotcha. I also found out recently that like 1/3 of Americans can't find the Pacific Ocean.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The biggest one.
Okay. It probably is. I don't know. Yeah. So that's neat. I mean, that's all I really got today.
Yeah.
This whole entire show, I just was angry about the about Lighthouse Point.
Yeah. No, I understand.
And those wonderful people up there. And I really, really freaking hope that Jason Jaffe hears this, sees this somehow. I want him to be mad at me because he's a fucking dick.
Yeah,
sorry,
I agree.
Mom, if you turn it back on.
Oh.
But we're gonna end it a little early today. Don't forget, muddiedwatersofreedom.com is where you can find backdated episodes of this, as well as writings from the two of us and some special guests that we have on every once in a while.
Yep.
Also, again, facebook.com/muddiedwatersofreedom. Instagram, we are at muddiedwatersofreedom. And on Twitter, we are muddied_waters. Man, you are sweating.
Yep. I feel hot.
Oh, you are hot.
Yeah? Thank you.
You are hot. All right. Do you have anything else?
Nope. That's all I have, really.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you all very much for listening. Please like, please share, please tell your friends. And soon you will be seeing these two wonderful faces and hearing these two wonderful voices on Being Libertarian, which I personally am very excited about. I love all the guys that are over there.
Oh, yeah, same here.
Yeah, Eric July is a fantastic guy. I'm blanking on everybody else right now because I'm kind of spitballing.
No worries.
TJ, is TJ there?
Yep, he is.
Yeah, that guy T. That guy T is over there. Great dude. Yeah, so definitely looking forward to joining them officially once they get that all set up.
Yep.
And yeah, that pretty much closes us out.
Yep. Thank you for joining us today, guys.
Yeah.
And you have a very good night, okay? And as always, remember where we're going?
We don't need roads.